right now, I'm just the co-host. It's the host's fault. All her fault. That's why we late. We still want to do right by y'all.
Oh,
And we
that's
still
oh, that's
want.
dirty. That's dirty. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get that out. Go ahead and get the rest of it out. Go ahead and
But
get the rest of it out.
it's her fault why we late. Like I was here, I was on time, all that stuff or whatever. Like
Okay.
I'm always punctual when it comes to my time or whatever. But your host, yeah, she definitely was late. I told her let's get started. I don't know what she was doing, but here we are, and we live, and we got an interesting topic. But let me just put this out there real quick.
Go ahead. Let me go ahead and do my. I'm gonna do mine while I'm gonna do my business while you do
Okay,
that.
all right, cool. Yo, if it's something that we ever say, whether it's her, whether it's me, let's be very clear on that. I'm gonna say this publicly.
I love when you say things publicly. Like I know you say it publicly, but I love when you be like, "Did I say that publicly?" Or let me say this publicly, like absolutely.
Because I feel like it's necessary. Like
It do be though.
we say things and we speak on things that are coming from like personal experience. We say things and we speak on things that are coming from things that through her journey in life, people have came and vented to her. My position, people come and say things to me, or they call me on the phone. I had a phone call just the other day, 5:30 in the morning while I'm working.
Ooh.
And that's what I'm saying. So it'd be
5:30
like,
in the morning.
yeah. So like, I never ask anybody like, oh, if you got any issues, like it's just who I am as an individual. So it's safe to assume that that's who you are. But don't ever try to partially watch the show, partially hear this, somebody say this, or I think this was said or whatever. If you got something to say, my phone number is 443-900-4145. Again, that number is 443-900-4145. If you want to, text, send a text or say anything or whatever, just say it. But don't be running around here saying things that we didn't say, or running around here spreading rumors about the show or whatever, because in all honesty, like, it doesn't matter where the platform came from. I personally feel like this is a positive platform, and I'm going to support the platform, the creator, all those things, because we try to be genuine. We're not trying to offend anybody, whether it's religiously or spiritually. Everybody's entitled to move however they move. At the end of the day, even me as a Muslim, Islam talks about, on a day when the trumpet is blown.
Yeah.
This is an ayah in the Quran. It talks about, and again, Allah knows the true meaning. It says that on the day that the trumpet is blown, that day shall a man flee from his mother and his brother and his father and his sister. That day will a man have enough to make careless of others. I say that just to say, mind your goddamn business. If you got your whole life figured out, then I'm happy for you or whatever. But don't try to come on here and try to twist the narrative of what we talking about, or try to twist the host's words, or try to twist my words, because we say what we say, and even as a Muslim, I'm not going to speak on something if I don't have any knowledge on it, or I've never heard it, or I don't know where the proof is. So I just had to clear that up, because unfortunately I got a phone call and somebody was trying to like slander you and try to say some sideways stuff. Like, and I was like, she said that? Like, oh damn, like for real? But then I'm like, nah, that's not what happened. So it's like, if you hate us, you hate us. I mean, that's good for us. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's your own personal feelings.
Yeah.
But
so I just had to get that out there.
I'm happy you got that out there, and I truly am grateful. Like, I know there's this saying, like, what Allah puts together can no person break apart, and I truly appreciate Allah. I'm grateful to Allah for allowing us to get together in this way. I mean, you've been my little brother forever, my whole life, but for us to be able to come together and be this dynamic duo. This dynamic duo is ruffling some feathers, and that's just because of how dynamic it truly is. It's like, wait a minute, like not only we don't like her, but we love him. So how can we now? They confused right now as to how to even function.
I don't think they confused, because I got other phone calls and people told me outright, they was like, yo, you need to fall back from the show, don't go on the show, you need to stop doing the show with her and stuff like that. And like 7, 8 episodes in, we still rolling. So I mean, like,
we still rocking and rolling. We ain't just rolling, we rocking and rolling.
Positivity. Don't call my phone unless you talk about money, because you know
that's a whole different ball game now. Yeah. You're talking about some money. Listen, because you can monetize the show. Okay, you can do that. But honestly, it's sad that people are even speaking ill about the show or even about us together, because every topic that we have had thus far, and I'm sorry y'all, we making this first little part about this because it's important, because we just want to make sure you all have an understanding. Everybody, the ones that love the show, thank you. The ones that hate the show, thank you. The ones that are going and having conversations about the show privately, and then people are third partying like, oh, well, I heard they said this. You know, those things, it affects everybody, because we're in a community that last week we talked about religious trauma in the Muslim community in Baltimore. And what did it call? What did it do? What did it do? Like, it showed the people who made that phone call at 5 a.m. and the people that are making the phone calls to speak up against it. You are truly showing why there is so much trauma in the Muslim community, because instead of you making a phone call to speak against me or about me or to say how much he needs to separate from me in this platform, what you should have done as a Muslim, and you getting this advice from somebody you don't like, but I am a Muslim. And what you should have done as a Muslim is say, let me educate her, because what I think she said, because this person didn't even watch the show, it was a he said. What I think she said was offensive. What I think she said goes against Islam, or what I think she said may be haram, or what I think she said is a sin. As a Muslim, you should have contacted him if you didn't want to contact me, or you could even contact me, contact my father, because my father be getting the phone calls too, but contact somebody so that you can correct me, so that you can help me to learn, because it is every Muslim's obligation as a Muslim to teach another Muslim, to give dawah, to be able to enlighten you if I'm wrong, which is why I said last week, you know, may Allah forgive me if I'm wrong in what I say, or may Allah forgive me if what I'm saying is wrong. Like, I ask Allah for forgiveness, and that's the only forgiveness I ever will ask for. I'm never going to be apologetic about anything that I say, because Allah created me exactly the way I am, and I am grateful to be who I am and how I am. However, I understand that I am not perfect, and that there's always room for me to grow and for me to learn and for me to be educated, not just academically, not just in life, but Islamically and in Quran and Sunnah. You know, I have been religiously broken. I have endured tremendous religious trauma, which is why it's taken me a lifetime already to get past all of the hurt and pain that I endured in the Muslim community in Baltimore, to be able to say, okay, let me separate the two. Because the Muslim community in Baltimore and Islam are two different things completely. So now let me take the time to learn Islam. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. Like, if you feel away, you feel away because of your malicious intent. You feel away because you're miserable. You feel away because you're sad, you're broken, and you're unhappy, and you're upset. And let me tell you personally, because he hasn't told me who made the phone call to him, right? But I know, because Allah gives me insight. Alhamdulillah. And I know that the person, and you don't gotta tell me if I'm right, but you can tap if I'm wrong, okay? The person that called you had everything to do with the beginning of my trauma in the Muslim community. So, because, I mean, you can just revert back to my story time.
My president said, I got the right to plead the fifth.
There was no tap.
My president said I got the right to plead the fifth.
Oh,
that's right, F-I-F, fifth.
No tap though, no tap, because I already know, like, that person. Let me tell you something. When somebody's agenda is to destroy something, or destroy a person, or destroy a thing, anything, like their agenda to destroy the show. When you work hard to destroy something and it don't get destroyed, it only gets better, it only gets stronger, it only looks better. It's only, people are like, that is the worst. I'm telling you. Listen, I was trying to destroy a person once. I'm going to be honest, okay? Somebody hurt me once in life, and I was like gung-ho on trying to destroy that person because of what they did to me. So I know the feeling of when you're trying to destroy something and it don't get destroyed. But you know what Allah gave me? Allah gave me peace. He gave me peace and understanding and clarity and why he allowed that person to hurt me. And when he gave me that peace and that clarity and understanding and why that person was allowed to hurt me, it taught me to be humble. And to stop putting my energy into trying to destroy somebody else because that was wrong no matter what they did to me. But this person that made the phone call to him, I never did anything to him, to that person, not him, because it's not a him. But anyway, I never did anything to that person.
Fair.
But because someone else did something to that person by using me, it's affected that person for over 30 years. Let me directly look at you, sis. Let it go. Make dua. Make peace with it. I was 11 years old. I had nothing to do with that. You need to make peace with it. You need to make salat. You need to make tawbah. You need to ask Allah for forgiveness. I forgive you for everything that you've done to me in the Muslim community. I forgive you for every word of slander that you have used my name in. Because you were hurt because somebody hurt you by using my name. I was 11. I was a child. Let it go. Assalamu alaikum.
All right. That was a lot of getting out the way, but we got that.
We did. Slide that out the way. That was like the first 20 minutes.
But we not gonna hold y'all because we've been, we already, prolonged it because we had some technical difficulties or whatever. We're setting up shop and everything, but here we are once again. So we just gonna jump right into the topic. It's a lot of things going on, whether it be within inside the Muslim community, locally, out of state, whatever the case may be. It's the fathers and the daughters, right? Mm-hmm. Now, from my understanding, you got a decent relationship with Stan, right? If you know, you know. We're gonna keep it pushing. And
that's my man. That's my dad.
And I would confidently say that relationship with him is kind of your platform. I know last week we were talking about the prophet, may peace and blessing be upon him, but for you and your journey, Stan is somebody who he set the tone, whether it's for you to raise your men,
my children.
Your children, and regardless of how it is, but he set a bar for you.
Absolutely.
And that's how you're able to interact with your children, whether it be the males to the females, but specifically we're referring to the ladies, the young ladies, the girls, but I mentioned all of the children just because that's a bar that he set for you.
Absolutely.
And because he set that bar for you, now you got a bar to set for the girls.
Absolutely.
What to expect, because this is how the father was.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not necessarily, and I don't hate my father, but I know somebody will run back and say that, he said he hated his father. I don't hate my father. While he gave me certain things, I feel like that when the community was actually the community, way back when, you're not going to be able to get there unless you do some other stuff. Trust me, it's that deep. Now you're over here. Pops, you don't need that joint. Where's it at? So, while he did what he did, I feel like the majority of who I am came from how the community used to be. Yeah. The community, unfortunately, is not how it used to be. I mean, back in the day, dudes was getting straight jacked up for doing all kinds of stuff within their household, because once it got outside, the community came together and dealt with it. And it's unfortunate. I don't want to tap back into what we discussed last week, but it's very unfortunate that the community as a whole turned a blind eye to the things that happened to sisters like you, and then the stories that we talked about last week and stuff like that, or whatever. But with all that being said, I guess I'm going to dump it off to you to kind of talk about some effects
that it has.
And
right.
let's start with the bad, because then we can bring people up or whatever. Let's start with the bad.
Okay, but before we start with the bad, right? Okay. Because we're talking about the topic. I'm sure you read the caption, but the topic for tonight's show is fatherless daughters, and talking about absent fathers and in daughters' lives. Now, of course, we're gonna come back and talk about fatherless sons as well. But tonight we're talking about the fatherless daughters, and I'm happy you started with my dad. So I'm gonna talk about the bad when it comes to my dad. Okay, go ahead, run, tell him I said that. Like, no. But
even, put a hole in you.
Listen, but even with the bad, it's Allah is so merciful because He plans things perfectly. That's why you have to trust Allah in everything that you do. And even with tonight's show being late, I'm grateful to my co-host for putting it to production. But honestly, my dad gave me a call and he said, we check on each other, and so I said, listen, let me buy you some lunch. Come down by the house. Let me buy you some lunch, and we'll have lunch together at 3:00. Well, that turned into like 5:00, and then the conversation while he was eating, and we were talking, turned into 7:30. And as he was talking, I knew that the show was supposed to start at 7:00, but I said, this is priceless. Everything that my dad talked about with me tonight, and he don't even know about this show tonight, about the topic. I try to keep it separate because I don't like getting in trouble, because it will steer me back. Like, I did get a phone call.
You'll get that phone call.
So we talked, and one of the things my dad and I was talking about was me as my worth and how I became who I am and raised my children the way they are. And so he said, well, one of the things you did was you raised them to be your friend, and not like I raised you strict. You didn't raise them strict. And so he said, but they turned out beautifully, but different than you because of how you didn't raise them being strict. So I give y'all that long piece because my dad is an amazing father, but he played no games, okay? I grew up in a very strict household. Yeah, like, listen, we heard the car before he got to the house, and we could be running around playing and having fun, but we knew when we heard the sound of that engine at the top of that block, we needed to get up and get everything together. That set the tone for me, of how to make sure my house was together when my man came home, because my mom, may Allah be pleased for her. My mom, she's like, your father, get it clean, because my mother was not about to let my father walk into a house that was not clean. My mother was not about to let my father walk into a house that was out of order. And when my father came in, he made sure that there was order. We could have just cleaned. He'd be like, listen, I see that border over there. So he was very strict, very tedious growing up. And that was one of the things that I knew I didn't want to do, because I felt like kids should be able to be relaxed, lay back, chill. You know, like, Dad, you got to get up and clean all the time. But now I'm older and I'm like, that was some smart, like, what? Why would I not? That was good to instill in us, because now I keep my house that way. But I had to train my kids over time after they got of age. Like, listen, you actually got to clean up too. It ain't really just on me. But he instilled that in me, and that was harsh to me as a child. But it definitely molded me to be who I am, to be strict, to be disciplined, to know like I how to clean the house, how to mop the floor, how to get on my hands and knees and clean the floor, how to cook, how to prepare dinner. My father even taught me how to set the table. Like, my mom taught me, but my dad even taught me like how to set the table, and all those things. As you growing up and you're a kid, you think this is harsh. And so that's the downside of for me, of being a child of a strict father. But raising my daughters without a father.
Okay, so that's
raising them without what I had.
That sounds like something that I think is weird, because I have a conversation with people about that stuff, right?
Right.
And I let them know, like, maybe it's our community or whatever, but for me, like, when I talk about that stuff or whatever, outside of this atmosphere, it's looked at like I'm speaking a foreign language, right?
Right.
And while there are some certain qualities or whatever, and I'm not taking away from nothing that my father did. He did what he did, you know, he raised us the best way that he felt like he could. And I think that my hustle, my grind, right?
Mm-hmm.
It came from that.
Absolutely.
Like to get out there and be like, oh, I gotta move some money, I gotta make some money, I gotta do this, that, and the third.
And I'm fathers are like of the same caliber. Like they both came from that era. They definitely was out there. A 9 to 5, plus you got a job, plus you fixing cars, plus you making sure the family good. They came from that. So let's dive in real quick because I put on there the ingredients to the recipe of an absent father. Like, what are the ingredients to the recipe of an absent father? So I put that on there, that question, and you can answer that in the comment section as well, right? We have a lot of, we're sitting in my outreach center, and I have y'all in front of this board tonight. You see I changed the section, the setup, because I wanted you guys to see this right here. This is one of the oldest paintings that I have. I've had it on several of my shows, but you see the father that is holding up and protecting the family, and the mother is praying, and the daughter is holding on to her, and the son is reaching up to the mother, right? I point this painting out, right, because I've looked at it for over 20 years, that's one. But two, the son is reaching up to the mother, right? This baby, he's the boy. You know you got the mama boys. I know you're a mama boy too. I know you are.
Love you, shorty.
When you don't have
it was her birthday this week too.
Oh, Humpty Love. I just sent her a
24,
message.
yeah.
24. Happy birthday, Sister Saida. When you don't have a father in the household to hold up the world and to keep the family safe, that is an ingredient to what makes a man think it's okay to be absent in his children's lives. Okay. When you have when you see the daughter, she's holding on, but this son down here is holding on to the mom. When you have a son that is raised without a mother, that is an ingredient also to men growing and thinking that they can be absent. When they have someone absent from their lives, and they don't have the structure to show them what it is that this is what family is, then that falls into the ingredients. Now it doesn't make it okay, but I believe that it gives the recipe of absent fathers that, okay, like this is what happened. And I'm only speaking to that from experience. What I learned over time is a lot of men who have trauma because their moms weren't there or because their fathers weren't there. That trauma is unhealed, and now they're trying to go through life trying to figure out how to be a father or how to be a dad, especially when they have daughters. They are, well, how am I going to be a daughter? Especially the men that are broken and then they're breaking women. Now I have a daughter after I'm broken and I done broke the mom. Now how am I going to be a father to this little girl? So you have a lot of men that are broken, that need healing because of the trauma that they've endured as a child. This picture, I put this up here tonight because this is one of my favorite pictures to just kind of dissect and understand what men go through. You have men who are battling it behind closed doors, and maybe this is the nice side of me right now, but honestly, it's me just addressing the reality that there are a lot of men who fail at being fathers because of the trauma that they may have endured, what they may be lacking, what they saw growing up. I know for my own daughters, I have 8 daughters, and yes, that's 8 daughters.
That's a lot of daughters.
And to have 8 daughters with no father in their life is mind-blowing. But let me tell you the recipe, the ingredients to the recipe of their fathers. They did not have mothers in their lives growing up. They did not have fathers in their lives growing up. Some of them, 2 of them, there's 3. 2 of them, their mothers was on drugs growing up. So they had that to deal with. They were separated from their siblings. That's trauma. and traumatic. And then one of them never even knew his mother. So just wanting to know who his mother was created a trauma in itself, and that was traumatic. So those ingredients to me, for me, when I met the person, this is why you gotta be careful when you meet somebody and they telling you their story, and then you just like, oh my God, that's so sad. Like you start trauma bonding immediately, and then you trauma bonding, and you done trauma bonding with
some scary word.
You done trauma bonded because
I did some research into, like, I've read. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, that is though.
That word, trauma bonding.
Yeah. I've taken classes too, so I know you probably had the whole work, like you had, especially because you got the certifications like me. You got to go through a whole class, like a whole training to understand that. And so I'm just speaking on that because those are the ingredients that make up the recipe to me of men who are absent from their children's lives or their daughters' lives especially. And I have sons as well, but my daughters, when I think about their fathers, I think about the fact that they have that. Now, my last daughter's father has a mother and a father, was raised in a good home, had a beautiful upbringing, like just an amazing life, and he's just an asshole. He just said he's just an asshole. There's no ingredients for him. There's no the ingredients to the recipe of him is selfish, self-centered, ignorant, asshole, basically. So that was, I told you I started off nice because I started with the trauma.
So let me jump into this real quick. Right?
Yeah, go
before
ahead.
I talk about, like me, because I am a father, whatever.
You a father? It's like, no.
And I definitely got girls. And again, before I get into that, so it's always, let me just put it out there, right? So you don't believe that in none of those situations that, damn, did I just try to put my host on the hot seat? I did.
I felt it. Like, wait a minute.
But I'm going to do it, though, because that's what we do here.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you, so you don't feel like, as a mom, that you legitimately, I know we had a conversation off the show, but you don't you don't feel like you added to those prevention, because sometimes it's situations
the prevention of them being fathers?
Yeah, because sometimes it's situations where mothers make things unnecessarily difficult. And
absolutely.
Before you fully tap into that, I saw something earlier, and it was pretty much saying, like, if mom can't have us without dad's money, like a mom can't afford to raise us without dad's money, then why can't we go live with dad? And right. Oftentimes, you got these circumstances where the mother will do certain things to prevent that from happening, and oftentimes inside this community, whether it's the Muslim community or whatever, but oftentimes you find the children with the mother as opposed to being with the father. And then when you had those conversations or whatever, it's like, were you that person who, no, nigga, you crazy, I'm not letting my children go stay with you, like.
Okay, so first, let's start from the back to the front. Okay. The last statement that you made, with a woman making a statement, no, I'm not letting my children go live with you. Okay, I was that woman. Okay. And I was that woman because in my situation, because it wasn't presented to me for my children to go live with the father because that was the best thing for the children. It wasn't presented to me in a way that was like, this is the best thing for the children, just period. It was presented because that person was angry, bitter, hurt, sad, and listening to everybody when he knew he didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So you want the children to come live with you and struggle with you? Absolutely not on my watch. You want the children to come live with you when they come and visit you, you leave them and go about your business and they're left with other people. So you want them to come live with you, because you don't want to pay child support. That's why you want them to come live with you. That's irresponsible. That's not being a parent. That is being selfish again, like I said, and being self-centered. And that is just thinking the bigger picture. Okay, yeah, but you want the focus.
Gucci.
Right. You want the children to come and live with you for your own selfish reasons. Okay. So for me, when it was presented to me, it was a hell no. Like, I've been taking care of you our whole marriage. Like, how would it happen? Now, if we could have had a sit down conversation and that person would have said, listen, I'm looking to buy a pot to piss in so I can throw it out the window. Guess what? Baby, let's do that, because we parented together for 7 years. So let's parent together and make sure you get a pot. Like, how can I help you? I even offered give the person a car, like one of my cars. Take my car. You know what I mean? I'll keep the van. You take the car.
I'm not saying I tried to make it. Well, not. But I'm just saying, if y'all watching this, hey, could I get a car?
I
want wheels so I can whip.
But I tried to make it as easy as I could, for that person, because I understood, like, our children need you. Like, right. Children need both parents. So it was never ever my intention, or even in my thought process, honestly, when we talked, I said this, it was never in my thought process that me getting a divorce meant my children no longer having their father in their life. That never crossed my mind. So when it came about, it was a shock to me. And it was like, okay, well, how do we get to a place where you can parent too? But when that conversation came about of, okay, we'll let the kids live with me and you don't have to worry about them. Like, no, like, women don't want to give their children up. And I'm not speaking for all mothers, because unfortunately I done heard some stories about these women out here too, just like these men. But what I will say is, women who are naturally nurturers and who are truly mothers do not want to just give their children up. So for a father to even come, even if a father do got a pot to in the window, throw it up.
Yo, fuck that shit. No.
Let me say this.
Why we gotta give up our children?
Y'all be the ones that be cheating, lying, stealing. It's like, no. I'm joking.
That's cool,
that's not everybody. But no. Let me say this. Let me say this part.
Man, go ahead.
If you do have the means, I never was with anybody that had the means. But if you do have the means to take care of the child, then we need to do it still together. It should not be they just live with me. Like, one of the things I learned in the family court was, like, when it comes to taking care of the child, if you don't want the courts to be involved, if you don't want child support to be set in place, then you can have the child 4 days a week and she can have the child the rest of the week. Or you can have the child the beginning or the end, but you have to split it at a certain day so that it's not, the courts don't have to get involved.
So what you're saying is like, you got them on Monday and Tuesday, I got them Wednesday.
No, it has to be, yeah.
All right, let me finish. So I get them every Monday and Tuesday. You get them every Wednesday and Thursday, and then we rotate Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right, that could be good.
So that's an
agreement. Right. You can do that. So listen, and this is like to the men. Producer, we need you over here. But this to the men. You know what? There we go. Oh. Can you like switch the cords? Okay. To men, I want to say this. If you are in a situation where you and your child's mother, be it your wife, ex-wife, y'all going through a divorce, or y'all just separating and you going to different households, it is first of all, it's already hard breaking up. That's already hard in itself. That's already hard in itself. She going through it. It's already, I know you like shit. It's the whole rock.
She said, I'm going to adjust that angle. Go ahead, sis.
We tilted. Okay, but it's okay. It's okay. Please. It's okay. No, it's all right. Oh, okay. Oh no! I'm not.
It's fine.
Leave it.
It's fine.
No.
No.
What is
It's fine. It's fine. The camera is fine. The show must go on, people. Go
So, if you are when you're going through a breakup, it's already hard enough. I cannot. It's already hard enough. So you already got emotions flying. You already sad, mad, irritated with the person. You really don't want to talk to that person. But y'all have children together. So you have to watch the language that you use. So instead of saying, listen, just go ahead, give me the kids. Like, fuck all that. Just go ahead, give me the kids. Let the kids come live with me. Nah. I'm a woman. Be gentle with me. Like understand that them kids. Listen, Reelsfield, Holyfield. They are kids together, but they were created in my womb. They were nursed from my boob. So it's a connect. Don't try to take that away.
Nobody's trying to take the kids from the woman. The problem is some of these women are straight up fucking bums. Excuse my vernacular. Some of these women are bums.
Okay.
And because we talking about girls, like for example, okay, I got girls.
Okay.
Right? For me and not for me, right?
Okay.
I got girls. And my thing is, like, I date them. Like, you know what I mean? Now, it's been like a year or whatever, so I re-up. But I did take them all out with me.
It's the community.
Take them all out with me. And we go grab something to eat.
Okay.
Yo, dress down. I want y'all to put on the suit, throw on makeup, throw on the dress. Like, whatever, let's go all out.
Daddy-daughter dates, it's important.
Like, that's where I'm at with mine because I feel like if they don't get that love from inside the house, it's going to come from outside the house.
Listen, Jolly, you on like, so wait, but before we leave my part, because you entered a whole nother era, and that's important, but you could still do that if you separate, not speaking that would ever happen, but if that was it,
yo, some of the bums, they bums like
okay, well, for the bum, okay,
about,
right, but for the bum, you can still give your daughter daddy-daughter dates, daddy-daughter love, daddy-daughter time.
Not when the mother is dusty and she making stuff hard for me to communicate. Like, so, I'm not saying me, I'm just saying, not saying me. So what I'm saying is, some of these women be making the conversation, okay, the key to anything, just like we talk about in a relationship, it's still a relationship whether you with that woman or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you gotta have solid communication.
If you have a child with somebody, that's it for life.
That's what I'm saying. No, I don't want you to blast him, but at the same time, like, we can't deal with each other on this kind of level, but we should be able to have a communication, especially when it's pertaining to our daughters. But I feel like oftentimes some of these women out here, these bum-ass women, I said some. All right, don't be on there talking about, oh, he talking about the women. I said some. Some of y'all some bums.
I did. Now, honestly, listen, I cannot relate, right? But I get women who do not have the nurturing bone, which is why Rebuilding the Village is also a safe haven for mothers who cannot keep their babies. Instead of trying to do something horrible to your baby, you could bring your baby to Rebuilding the Village Outreach Center. I'll put my information in here so you don't have to, do anything ill. But there are some mothers who don't want to mother, who don't know how to mother, who, and unfortunately, I'm not going to say that they're bums, but they unfortunately become trauma to their child and to motherhood.
Why do men gotta pay for that? Why do we have to pay for your inadequacy?
How are you paying for it?
What you mean? Because you don't know what you're doing as a parent, because you don't know what you're doing as a mother. Just for the show, relax. If you don't know what you're doing, allowing a bottle to come across the back of my head, and I tuck and roll and come from the hip. So what I'm saying is this: if you're a bum ass chick, mother to be precise, and you don't know how to properly parent your child, or you really can't do it, then why don't you say that? The problem is to bring in. It don't matter, but see, that's the thing though. See, it's cool for us they'll go back and forth and they have a conversation in a relationship. But then when I see the relationship breaking down, I'm like, yo, I can't do this. And you know, at the end of the day, that your main focus is, and again, not talking about me, a couple stories. If you know that you have a breakdown of being a halfway decent parent, because parenting isn't just you wearing some name brand clothes. It's not just you and stuff like that, because not everybody came from that. I know I didn't come from that. Now, you know, ain't no surprising you might catch me with a pair of $6 expensive pants. You know what I mean? Because I know that I came from humble beginnings. Yeah. But the point that I'm trying to make is, it's not just about the money, it's also about the education. And if you are Muslim and you grew up a certain way, oftentimes a lot of these sisters be on that goofyism. That's right, new word, goofyism. A lot of them be on that BS where, oh, I'm not giving him them because he don't want to be with me, or I'm trying to prove a point. Sis, you are a bum. You cannot raise these children the proper way.
So women who do that, now that's a whole different. That's honestly, I don't know. I don't come from that, and I don't know that caliber of women. Like that's not even a woman. That's
my glasses on.
That's a woman with trauma. Okay, that's a woman. My co-host need a fan, but he refused to wear them fans back on the show.
D.I.D. Did.
But no, that woman has trauma too. That woman, the same way I have this, y'all, I got the one with the woman looking in the mirror and her childhood trauma too. That woman has trauma too. Women who use their children as tools onto holding on to a man or dictating to a man how that man can be a part of his child's life is a woman who is filled with trauma. She has low self-esteem. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad that I did not bring my in my Russian. I actually printed out like all of these different characteristics of a man and a woman, like that's
okay, well, we can turn this into part 2 next week.
Yeah, we definitely gonna do that because
Father's Day coming up.
Father's Day is so, but the fatherless children, the fathers who are not being fathers to their children, like let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. To the women who are with men who are not fathers to their other children, if you have a child with a man who is being a father to your child but not a father to other children, shame on you. You are disgusting as a woman. And I'm saying it to you. Like, shame on you. How are you celebrating that man being a father to your child but not being a father to all of his children? He's not a father. What he is oh God, please protect my tongue. I asked the Lord to protect my tongue. What that man is a bum. And what he's doing, because I promise you, if you got a man that is not being a father to other children, that means that you have low self-esteem about you. It's something wrong with you, because there's no way that you could be okay with being next to a man who is not taking care of his children, just because he there taking care of yours. And 99.9% of the women that are with men who are not taking care of their other children are taking care of that man the same way that woman who had them children by him first took care of him. So
all right,
maybe
slow. Hold up. Hold. Damn it, I said hold it. Hold. I feel like your weed went.
You took me there. I'm sorry. Bring me back. This is why we need to do pre-recorded shows.
So, this people see the authentic version. You know what I mean?
We need pre-recorded shows.
He didn't say. Yeah.
God damn.
Okay, my bad. Okay, but you the one spoke about Father's Day. You started it. Okay.
No, you're right. But all right. So, God damn. All right. So let me say this. Okay. So you feel like, just to be clear, that, and that's the crazy thing, right? I agree with that 100%. As a man, like I said, I do have girls, and not all of them are from me.
Right.
But I feel like I do a fantastic job.
I'm very proud of you.
Dad. You know what I mean?
Father's Day gift for you.
Okay. I don't want no tools. Don't give me no grills. I don't want nothing there I gotta use to work on something with. So if you somebody want to inbox me a gift.
Those are the best gifts because it's like a gift for yourself.
I'll take crypto. I'll take a new headset for the PS. Don't send me USB cord. Yeah, we take it all. Don't be sending us no tools. We don't want tools. We don't want something that we can go and fix up the house. We don't want that. We want something for us. But let me say this though. So I do have a daughter, daughters, and I try my best to try to play fair with them. It was asking me one time like, oh, well, this was your favorite, this was your favorite, this one. And I'm like, no, I personally don't feel like that. Like, I feel like I deal with each of my girls. Like, I spoil my girls. Sometimes I do gotta, say no or whatever, but I spoil them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do that because, like I said, I don't want it to come from the outside. Now, that's just like last week, because we're close, and not just we're doing a show or whatever. Actually, the show probably did rekindle our relationship, and that's a good thing because I enjoy, being around you, being around your entire family, whatever.
Yeah. And we enjoy you, Charlie.
Absolutely. And I was thankful that I had the opportunity because just the other week when I was out with your family and we did that, the send off, and prior to that I did another send off, and I just be thinking sometimes like, wow, it feels good to see children. Not my daughters necessarily from my loins have I seen them actually like grow up as from babies, but my daughters from my loins, and then your daughters as well.
Yeah.
I seen like one of them up, and you watching, you know who you is, big head baby. Like you know exactly who you is.
Oh my gosh.
I saw them when they were like babies. I saw them when they was like I literally saw them grow up. So the fact that I had that opportunity to like be there for them to say, okay, you know what? Even one of the girls had said, when I told them about going back to work, they was like, what? Nuh-uh, because you're a damn lie, because both my uncles' bosses. And I'm like, what the heck? So it just, I made that mention of that because it just made me feel good to know that they got men who, although may not be perfect on a spiritual level, but perfect examples in their eyes to be like, hey, this is what I should be treated like.
Yes.
And even for my own children or whatever, I got my other kid, and she's like, I mean, if I'm on the couch, she's like here. You know what I mean? Like she's like right here up on me. And my other one, she goes to school at a private facility, and occasionally I'm there, and I see her, and it'd be like if she get out the car and her mom drops her off, she walks by me, she needs a hug. Aww. If she goes through the door and she's in transition to a class, she needs a hug. She just needs hugs, like that's for sure. Like she is a loving kid, and her sibling, they're a few years apart or whatever. They're actually both like that. Her younger sister, she's almost like a sour patch because she be so mean. But then like if she see you like crying or see you hurt, she kind of like give in. Yeah. So when you mention with your children and stuff like that, I can relate. I couldn't imagine, whether they're from my loins or not, I couldn't imagine that phone ringing and it's not there. My youngest daughter, man, this girl will blow up my phone. Like if I don't answer the first time, like she'll make sure I answer. And I'm like, yo, and then she'll call me and be like, Daddy, Mommy won't let me have pizza. And I'm like, bro, really? But the fact that she feels like that, so I mentioned those personal things to say like, okay, I know what it's like when I just couldn't imagine not having that there, and even with my oldest daughter, it's unfortunate that our relationship it is, but it's not my fault. But I just couldn't imagine missing that time with her, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not being able to share those moments with her or whatever. If we go somewhere, I'm able to, put a Band-Aid on her and stuff like that and tell us okay.
Yeah.
Like, so when you mention those issues, it's like, yo, the men gotta do better. We as a whole gotta do better with these little girls, because it's like, it was a movie, right? And I think it was called Belly. And this one scene is crazy as heck. I'm not gonna say the actor name because we ain't talking about nobody. But the actor was in a car, and he was in a car with a little girl, and she was performing oral sex on him. And later on in the movie, his wife, woman, whatever, called the number that was in his phone. And she was like, this is so-and-so. And she get the question, and she like, well, Tommy said that I can only suck his, and I'm too young to have sex. And I'm looking like, yo, what the hell type? But this is the current reality of the situation. Like, people look at the movie like, oh, it's entertainment. No, that movie actually has some truth to it if you pay attention to it. And these are the things that these young ladies can fall victim to, like, because they don't know, like, okay, this is the man that you should be loving up on. Like, if you're older, like, even, not to go too off topic, but even my son, like, I kiss my son on his forehead, he's a grown man. Right. But men need to show the girls the love, and some women don't understand it, so they will put up these barricades and these walls and stuff like that. And I feel like that, like you said, you need to go seek help, because it can be traumatizing to this little girl in the long run. Like, how does she know, like, okay, well, I don't have all these uncles, like, I don't have my mom's wife here to be this. Like, they need to see love. And when they don't have love, when they see rejection, because my oldest daughter told me that her family lied to her for years and made her believe that some other man was her father.
Oh, wow.
Imagine how hurtful that is for me. And like, granted, I went on an unfortunate vacation for 3 years, but outside of that, I never not wanted to be there. Right. It's just the circumstances that I got myself in. But once I removed myself from those circumstances, I was active, and I've been active ever since, and not, put myself in this position where I'll be taken away from her. So I say all that to say this. I believe that you do have bum-ass mothers, but I also believe that prevent fathers from being in their daughters' lives. But I also believe that these men need to step up. Yeah. Brothers, y'all need to step up. Like, y'all need to step up and be there for them little girls. Like, it's very, very important for you to be in these girls' lives, because if you don't happen, they'll end up in somebody's car in reality, or they'll be walking up the street and a dude pull up in this nice vehicle and like, oh, well, you want this or you want this, and this is how it happened, and this is how you did dive into the sexual trauma that we talked about last week, because where are they reaching to? They can't reach it.
So let me publicly say something as well. I just took his words publicly. Where did they even come from? I never said that. But let me say this, though. I want to say this out loud, I guess, because you asked a question earlier that I really didn't answer, and it's, you see how I done calm down? See how I done calm down and breathe? But
that's why I had to take over like that.
Thank you. You really...
See, I got you.
You did.
We good. I got you. I ain't gonna let you go. You was about to go to the moon. The goddamn ceiling got precipitation on it. And the producer was just over there laughing. I don't know, text no nothing on the phone or nothing. Like, yo, tap her, tell her chill. Yo, she taking it. The goddamn ceiling up here boiling. She was going in.
You really, but you asked the question earlier, like, do I think that I played a part in my children's fathers not being a part of their life? And I never really answered that because I reared off to different places. But I think one thing that's important for both the mothers and the fathers is to be accountable. To be accountable for their actions, to be accountable for their words, to be accountable for everything that leads up, all those ingredients that lead up to the absent father or the absent mother or the break of a relationship. You know, there are so many things that happen that lead up to that recipe. And I can be accountable for my actions in the marriage, as far as, you know, the divorcing and saying goodbye, you know, all that stuff. You know, I could be accountable for that. But when it comes to my children's fathers not being fathers, absolutely never would I have ever held my children back from ever having their fathers in their life. Because I have such an amazing father, by Allah's mercy, that is something that I wanted most for them. And I spoke earlier about how I didn't think at all, it never dawned on me that my ex-husband would not be a father to our children after the divorce. So our daughters, the relationship that he had with our daughters was like this. So much so that my daughters still to this day suffer, you know, with different things. And they've been years of therapy. And some of them even was supposed to be put into mental health facilities because of how bad the trauma was for them. And I fought hard to keep them out of those places because I never wanted them to be labeled, you know, because of that. And so the trauma, which is why I went to 1,000, okay, because what I've watched my daughters go through, not having their father in their life, and their fathers literally being 5 and 10 minutes from living from our homes, has been tremendous. It's been enormous.
I would love for my daughters to live 5-10 minutes from me. That would be so much.
It's been enormous, and even now, like you said, you know what happens, right, to a daughter who has a father who lives in the same city as her, but that chooses to not be a part of her life. I can tell you respectfully, because I know my daughters are probably watching or tuning in and tuning off, but without telling their story themselves, because they actually are going to come to this platform and tell their stories themselves.
Okay, so, baby, you watching?
Keep going, my baby. They've been calling her big head baby since she was born. But to just say this piece on it, 2 of my daughters, 3 of the daughters started dating, right? Mm-hmm. One daughter.
I better not find out.
Listen, this is why you finding out, especially right now. One of them started dating, and the man did something. The gentleman did something that made her upset. I promise you, it wasn't 1,000. It wasn't where I needed to pull up, right? Okay. But we ain't need to pull up. Okay. But it was something that was like, that's fine. She did something 1,000 times worse to him. Oh, yikes. Where I almost had to call you just to make sure he understood. Like, I know she did something wrong, but you wanted to let that slide, you know? Because, and she said after what she did, I think maybe I need to not date because I have issues with she was like, my father, that's all I saw. Like, and I was like shocked. I don't talk about their father, right? I don't even, when we talk about, you know, them dating, I don't ever say anything about their fathers. They bring it up. And when she said, like, maybe I need to not date because of the trauma for me not having a father, that was one. The second one, nice gentleman, took her out on a date, respectfully came, shook our hand and everything, you know, did the whole little thing. And when she got home, I was like, wow, what happened? You know, how was it? She was like, you know, Ma, I realized tonight, and this is the second daughter, she's like, I realized tonight I'm not ready to date. I'm not ready to be serious with anybody. You know, he was a nice guy, very polite, but the entire time I was sitting there, I was thinking, if my mother went through all that she did with my father, mm-hmm. and, you know, was hurt by him, and the things happened, you know, to make her have to be divorced, I don't think I could trust any man. So I said, well, you don't even know what he did. Like, how do you, I'm like, we never had a conversation. Like, we want to have a conversation about what happened in the marriage. She was like, I don't need to know. I just know I watched you cry a lot. And I know that my father left and never came back. And I know that he lied to me when he said that he would come pick me up. He lied to me when he said that he would pick me up from the bus stop. He lied to me when he said that he was going to take me shopping. So I really don't know if I want to be. And I said, so wait, do you want to be gay? She was like, no. I didn't say that. I just don't think I can be with a man until I go to therapy. That was the second daughter. The third one has never, ever really addressed not having her father per se. What she has done is she has made comments about not having her dad in a like indirect way. And then when I got married to before I even got married to my wife, she started saying, this is my dad, to my wife, herself. So it was the first time she started even speaking about a dad. Like, she never talked about it. So I'm like, you know what, maybe this is her way of dealing with it. And now this particular daughter was the oldest when everything happened. So she is like, her and my ex-husband were like two peas in a pod. She loved her daddy, he loved her. But when he left her too, immediately. And she never spoke about it. But now I'm watching her develop and try to date and not even try to date because she wants to get married. And she's saying, I want to get married, but I don't want to get married and have the same thing happen to me that happened to you, or happen to my children that happened to me. So she's dating with fear. So she even said, I need to go to therapy. Now, alhamdulillah, with all three of these situations that I just talked about, except for the first one, because the first one could have ended up badly. But the other two, they all recognize that they need therapy. But they could have ended up like what you just said, in somebody's car, because they didn't have, even though they have their uncles, that they can come talk to, or they can go talk to their grandfather. They didn't have that in-house male figure where they can be comfortable enough to say, hey, I'm this guy, or talk about this dude, or talk about. They didn't have that. It's a difference in having an in-house male figure than having the outside male figures. Like, one thing they all know is they protected. If anything happened, they did some more dumb stuff and immediately call Jolly. Did you call? I found out later. I found out like days later. I didn't even know. And they was like, oh no, we called Uncle Jolly about it. So they know that they are protected. They know that they are loved. But it still doesn't change the absence and the pain that they have endured and that they still endure of not having their father, in the home and raising them. And not even just in the home with me. Like I said, it could have been a few days a week they stay with him, a few days a week they stay. It makes a tremendous difference.
So it sounds like, which I would have to agree or whatever, and that's why I feel like, we gotta bring this into
a part two.
Because
Absolutely.
not only like are we at our time, but also because this is deep. A lot of stuff you said I outright agree with. I feel like damn, I need to defend the fellas. Like, she over here going in. Okay, the ceiling is dry now, folks. The ceiling is dry. She was over here going in or whatever, but I definitely agree. And this is a great topic because it's very important. Again, like I said, I do have girls.
Yeah.
For me, not from me, that I consider to be my daughters. But it's very important that people understand the drops from not having that father there.
Yeah.
It's not about having a figure. A figure is there, but then there's other things that, because some people, they don't, like, it's abnormal to do some of the stuff.
Yeah.
With girls, like, oh, you do that? Like, yeah, you do that. But they find it to be abnormal. So I don't want to take up time because we're on the time.
Yes, well, next week we're going to definitely bring this back. We're going to swing
a part two for sure.
Yeah, but and when we come back, because I have some literature that I took the time to put together for tonight's show, but we're going to use it next week. And we were definitely all over the place tonight, y'all, but that's what happens. And I love I love this. So I hope y'all float with us, you know. But next week we're definitely going to bring this topic back. Father's Day is coming. To all of the fathers that are fathers to not only their child but to other children, I commend you and I pray that Allah blesses you.
The father figures too.
To father figures, to uncle dads. You know, my brother said one day, he said, you know, I'm like an uncle dad or something. We had celebrated Father's Day and didn't say it like him as a father. We just like uncle. He's like, I'm like that uncle dad, and he absolutely is, because outside of my children not having that in house, he showed up to everything. He showed up to everything, always was there and still is, and that's a blessing. So to uncle dads, definitely shout out to you. To people that men that just step in, shout out to you. But to fathers who are not fathers to their children, every day that Allah gives you breath in your body, you have the opportunity to change that. Every day you have the opportunity to change that.
It's real, like, you know what I mean? She was just here and she came out like that. Okay, I like that. I co-sign that. That's it.
Good night.
See y'all next week. Look at that thumb.